All right, peace and blessings. Back once again, it's your brother Sorry. Peace to the true and living, man. If you tuned into this for I guess, the third or fourth time today, you are the true and living. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I know we done a few laws today. Y'all been thugging with me today, so um, I figured we might as well round it out with this 10th law of power. So, you know what I mean? We're going to make this, will be a good one. Um, Peace to the gods, man. Appreciate everybody for the support. Everybody, y'all like what y'all been hearing, man. Like, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Tell Big Mama know we got another one shared with the fam, however it may go. You know what I mean? We have another um, good discourse. Now, what we've been doing on this whole series, and it's going to be a playlist on this. Y'all can check it out. What we've been doing on this whole series, we've been cross-referencing the laws of power. Everybody's familiar with, well, not everybody, but people are familiar with the 48 laws of power. That's a very popular book. Shit, really a classic. Um, it's available pretty much everywhere. A lot of us have read the book and stuff like that. So you can read Robert Greene and what he's talking about with these various laws and stuff like that. And I'm just, if you happen to have True Master, especially Volume 2, you can go over some of the concepts of what I'm talking about, and you can kind of cross-reference how they apply to the various laws of power, like how we laying out here. And I think it'll be fairly practical for everybody. But let's get into this. This is the 10th law of power, right? Okay, so the 10th law of power, infection. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. Okay, now we're cross-referencing this with something from the Experiential and True Master Volume 1, Self to Self, which is vicious cycles versus virtuous cycles. All right. Vicious cycles are cycles or patterns that would culminate in unfavorable situations. Virtuous cycles are patterns or continuous cycles that would culminate in favorable experiences or events, pretty much in a nutshell. Um, in True Master, when we speak of fluctuations in the energy, in quotes, because I know, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people, when we talk like that, hey man, the energy and all this stuff like that, they're like, all right, go some more of that new age crap. Okay, so we're gonna kind of distill this down a little bit. Okay, at TM, when we speak about the fluctuations in the energy, in quotes, the word energy can be interchanged with circumstances in a lot of contexts. You see what I'm saying? So the word energy and circumstances can be interchanged when we talk about the energy in general, and especially in this context that we're talking about. Energy can always be interchanged with patterns, but specifically we're talking about a particular set of circumstances. So they are also associated with symbols and patterns. So the energy is associated with the word circumstances. Circumstances are associated with symbols and patterns. Okay, symbols and patterns in this context would be the circumstances of a person's life, right? The circumstances of a person's life. Remember, a symbol is anything you give your attention to, such as discontentment, turmoil. We're talking about unlucky and unhappy people. We're getting into it. A symbol would be anything you give your attention to. So if you give your attention to discontentment, turmoil, instability, misery, complaining, etc. Okay, when you have the repeating of discontentment, turmoil, chaos, instability, misery, complaining on a regular basis, now this is a pattern. You see what I'm saying? If you just hear it one time, that's a symbol. But if this is a consistent thing, then that's a pattern in this person's um, existence, or whatever case may be. Okay, all of these negative circumstances are a telltale sign that they are unbalanced. They have unbalanced relationships internally with what we call in principles, or the themes, the various categories in their mind, in their psyche. They have some unbalanced relationships with those different parts of themselves internally, and it plays out in the circumstances of their life. You see what I'm saying? And the decisions that they make. You see what I'm saying? So possibly unresolved inner issues with self relationship. You see what I'm saying? Possibly trauma earlier in life, or whatever case may be. It could be a whole number of things. Okay. not to get into all the causes, but just kind of laying this out. We laying out the whole unhappy, unlucky people and all that. And okay, so all of these circumstances give you an overall estimation of the energy of this individual, institution, group, etc. So when we say, man, bro, energy ain't right, you see what I'm saying? It's something about the patterns that govern this individual, something about this person's mannerisms, this person's etiquette, something about the patterns that exude from this individual's nervous system. Remember we talked about, go back to the video I did about the analytics of a fight. I talk about when you have things that are ordered in systems, the systems have functions of the different parts or whatever, so you can kind of understand what the message that's coming out. But if I'm eating a bag of chips, my nervous system is still conveying messages that can be interpreted, but there's no system in eating a bag of chips. You see what I'm saying? All right. So, but when you, so whatever this person does or whatever case may be, their subconscious choice of words, their actions, just habits, how they treat people, all that stuff like that give you a window into their overall energy, right? You see what I'm saying? And we can kind of discern certain themes that govern their lives and stuff like that. You can almost nail down certain aspects of their mindset, their psyche that's out of balance and stuff like that. Um, and this is more of an eyeballing type thing. You kind of get used to get used to seeing the patterns and associating them with principles or whatever. That'll kind of come. But okay, so as we said on a previous video entitled "The Science of the Heart," right? The heart tells the brain what to do, right? Go back to the video we did. Your mind is not in your head. The science of the heart. Okay, so the heart tells the brain what to do. Look up neurocardiology. Neurocardiology. I'm pretty sure we're on YouTube. You can type that in YouTube, and some videos of neurocardiology will pop up. Okay, it's a branch of cardiology that deals with the heart brain. The heart brain, because when you start getting into it, the heart has a brain of its own. The heart has a nervous system of its own. You see what I'm saying? Let me see here. It's the heart brain and the heart's nervous system, which communicates with the cerebral brain, the brain in your head, as well as acts independently of the cerebral brain. It has memories independent of the cerebral brain. It functions independent and in conjunction with the cerebral brain. So the mind is not in your head. The heart tells the brain what to do. The mind is non-local altogether. You see what I'm saying? The mind is like a radio station. The body is like a radio. You see what I'm saying? But if I had to relegate it to a physical location in the body, it would be more heart than head. You see what I'm saying? So it's a reason so that's possibly the same reason why the ancient Egyptians, they would take the brain out and then they would throw it away and then they would keep the heart, because realistically the heart is the general, the brain is the subordinate. All right. So let me see here. According to the Heart Math Institute, the heart radiates an electromagnetic field several feet outward from the body. These fields hold psychological trauma and have a level of non-tactile communication with the hearts of other people. Keep throwing this one up. The lady Eileen Day McCusick in this book right here, she's talking about the tuning forks and stuff like that. She's talking about how to, go through a person's field, biofield, because if you say aura, you're gonna sound new age. But if you look up biofield, then you start tapping into fields of medicine, medical science and stuff like that. Look up human biofield and you start seeing different experiments and studies that they've done, how trauma can be stored within the human biofield, all these different things like that or whatever. Which is a whole nother conversation all in itself. Okay, so I would think that this would account for some of the synchronicity of groups of people and couples who are in constant contact, couples that live together and stuff like that, sleep together, sitting there spooning at night, and all that good stuff, whatever the case may be. Their breathing synchronizes, all types of things of that nature. And there's a level of what the Heart Math Institute calls heart coherence and everything like that. So the heart of people communicates with the hearts of other people, this field that's emitted from the heart or whatever case may be. So that's the thing. Okay, similar how in Kung Fu there is a transference of energy. In this sense, we're talking about patterns. There's a transference of energy from master to student. Okay, Kung Fu means hard work over time. Okay, just to lay that. So kung fu, it's some similar to how in kung fu there's a transference of energy or patterns from master to student that contributes to a student of a particular master feeling like his teacher, right? So there's a transference of energy from master to student, and that contributes over the years of time that you study with this individual. In the end, and during that process, you'll start to feel like your teacher, right? Okay, so when you train martial arts, you will start to take on the habits, for better or for worse, of the people that you train with. All right. This is just an example of what I'm talking about. True masters derive or is influenced, heavily influenced by martial arts, kung fu, and stuff like that. So this is just an example in that vein. So when you, just to kind of illustrate what we're talking about. Okay, when you train martial arts, you will start to take on the habits, for better or for worse, of the people that you train with. You will start to feel like the people you train with. So much so that some schools have a certain energy within the school, meaning people from that school feel similar. So most of the students from different kung fu schools, and people who are martial arts kind of know what I'm talking about. Different people from different kung fu schools, different lineages of fighters, different kung fu schools, or whatever case may be. There's a school energy. The people of that school feel similar, because a lot of times the people from that school fight each other and stuff like that, or they fight each other more than they fight other people. They work on common techniques and stuff like that, so they feel similar. Okay, so now with all that said, so basically, in a nutshell, the point that I was even making with that, or whatever case may be, when you're around people, you assimilate their energy. You see what I'm saying? The heart emits a field. We have a level of non-tactile communication that the cerebral brain is not privy to, or whatever case may be. We judge people by on how we feel about them to a certain extent. You see what I'm saying? That's a factor in us, in our judgment of people, how they make us feel. So a part of that is kind of like that same information that we got from the Heart Math Institute, where it's talking about the science of the heart and how the heart brain tells the cerebral brain um, what to do. Let's see. Now, with all that said, when you are around people, you assimilate their energy. You assimilate their energy. So had I said this in the beginning of this video, you would think I was like some new age type of cat. You see what I'm saying? But after we thoroughly explain what I mean when I say energy, you can assimilate their circumstances. You see what I'm saying? If they got a crazy set of circumstances, you hang around them long enough, you might assimilate some of their patterns and tendencies, and you might eventually have a crazy set of circumstances. A lot of the people that we hang around, our lives mirror their lives, or whatever the case may be. Remember, everything goes back to the observer. So if you're around them and you observe a lot of the patterns and things that happens in their lives, or whatever the case may be, you'll start to see those same themes. It may not be the exact identical thing that happens with them, but you'll see the themes play out in your life as well if you're around them. So it's a very real thing. You start to assimilate the energy, habits, tendencies, attitudes of the people that you're around, for better or for worse. Okay, people with vicious habits, all right, in a nutshell, have habits that ultimately plant the seeds for negative or unfavorable experiences and circumstances, right? People with virtuous habits have habits that plant the seeds for positive, favorable experiences and circumstances, right? So that's what we mean when we say that. We correlate that on the 10th law of power, you know what I mean, from the 48 laws of power: infection, avoiding the unhappy and unlucky. And we cross-referencing that from a teaching out of the Xperiential, as well as True Master Volume 1, Self to Self. Um, Vicious cycles versus virtuous cycles. You see what I'm saying? So on the 7th law of power, we were building structures of people, or networks of people. You see what I'm saying? So that corresponds with some of this. This idea in this 10th law of power makes us mindful of our associations, and the potential assimilation of vicious or virtuous patterns. So if you hang around, they always say I don't know, you're a representation of, what I'm saying, the four people you hang out with the most, or something like that. yeah, there's credence to that. So it just shows you to choose your associations wisely and stuff like that. I think this is why, in a lot of cases, and it's for my young people, a lot of cases, let's say sometimes you have to leave your hometown in order to actually be successful. Sometimes you have to leave your hometown in order to actually make some money, or you have to go to a place where people don't know you in order to get away from certain things that might negatively influence you. If you if you have to leave your hometown or whatever and go somewhere else or whatever, it forces you to start from scratch. It forces you to build new relationships and things like that. Now, like how we said before, the people in our lives are also patterns or whatever the case may be, and we have narratives that we tell ourselves. Remember how we talked about human beings are entranced 100% of the time. So we have narratives and things that we tell ourselves and everything like that. So we do stand a risk, run the chance of the same negative people from where we from, um, finding new negative people and assimilating them in our narrative and weaving a story around these new people and creating the same archetypes in new people or where we come from. So we have to be mindful of that. As well. But yeah, be mindful of your associations and just be aware that as human beings, we assimilate the people, the energy of the people that we hang around a lot. And I know the average person be like, man, I don't know them about all that, but we just, like how we said on another video, we familiar with the last 50 years or so of science and and you know, technology and science, things of that nation. In certain studies, certain recent studies, it's studies that happen every day, but we familiar enough with up to date information or whatever that we know. That's actually a real thing. So man, appreciate y'all for checking me out yet again, man. This would be the 10th law of power, so we almost 1/5 of the way through the list. So you know, just if you like what you've been hearing, man, like and subscribe. You know what I mean? We're gonna keep pumping them out. You know what I mean? So it's 10th law of power. Hope y'all enjoy it. Peace and blessings, man.